A woman is standing on a road in Ekiti State. She has no party membership card. She is carrying no placard. She is not chanting anybody's name. She is just standing there watching a convoy pass. A long conv, plenty vehicles, heavy security, the kind of motorcade that tells you power is moving. And then from somewhere in that crowd, one voice starts it, then a second voice, then a third, and before long, the whole road is saying the same thing. Bring back our children, bring back our children. That woman did not need a speechwriter. She did not need a campaign manager or a party structure. She needed 6 words, and those 6 words said more about the state of this country than every press release, every flag-off ceremony, and every political declaration that happened in Nigeria this past weekend. This is Afrisight Forum. We follow the power, we expose the lies, and we tell the stories they are too comfortable to tell you. If you are watching this channel for the first time, subscribe right now and turn on your notification bell, because what we are about to discuss is not a political debate. It is a reckoning. Let us start with the children. On May 15, 2026, armed men on motorcycles descended on 3 schools in Oyo local government area of Oyo State. Not 1 school, 3 schools, simultaneously, Community Grammar School, Baptist Nursery and Primary School, LA Primary School. 8 motorcycles, coordinated strikes, military-grade tactical execution. These were not opportunists, these were operatives. The same methodology, the same pattern, the same terror doctrine that gave Nigeria the Chibok girls in 2014, a wound this country still has not healed from, arrived again in Oyo State 12 years later, and this government treated it like a footnote. They took 46 people from those schools. 39 of them were children, 7 were teachers. The youngest child taken from that school compound was 2 years old. 2 years old. That child does not understand politics. That child does not know what a presidential primary is. That child knows one thing, a mother's face, and that face has not been seen in 15 days. The assistant headmaster was killed on the premises trying to protect students. Mathematics teacher Michael Oyedoko was beheaded on video on Sunday, May 17th. Not reported, not discovered, beheaded on video, deliberately recorded, deliberately distributed. A statement of contempt directed at this government, at this state, and at every Nigerian watching. As of May 30th, 2026, the majority of those 46 people remained unaccounted for. No confirmed rescue figure from the federal government. No press conference dedicated specifically to this abduction. No operational timeline publicly released by the military. Parents were giving desperate interviews to local journalists because the government that collected their taxes had given them nothing. No update, no timeline, no honest accounting of what was being done to bring their children home. That is the foundation of this story. Keep it in your mind as we go forward. What the First Lady did on the same day. On May 30th, 2026, 15 days after those children were taken, while those parents were still waiting, the First Lady of Nigeria, Remi Tinubu, was in Ekiti State on official business. Let us not misrepresent what that business was. Her office confirmed 3 activities. She commissioned an ICT center at Ekiti State University in Ado Ekiti under her Renewed Hope initiative. She met with the Ekiti State Traditional Rulers Council, and she flagged off the APC Women's Campaign rally in support of Governor Biodun Oyebanji's re-election bid ahead of the June 20th Ekiti governorship election. At the Ekiti Civic Pavilion, she presented a 100 million naira business recapitalization grant to 2,000 women petty traders. When you divide that figure honestly, that is 50,000 naira per trader, in a country where the official minimum wage is 70,000 naira per month, in a country where that minimum wage has been further destroyed in real value by fuel subsidy removal and the naira devaluation that followed. The government presented 50,000 naira as economic empowerment, while the economy that requires that money to function is itself in collapse. And she told the women gathered at that rally, insecurity will end. Insecurity will end. 15 days after a mathematics teacher was beheaded on video in Oyo State. 15 days after 39 children were dragged from their classrooms. 15 days after a 2-year-old was taken at gunpoint from a school in a country that has a First Lady's office, a national security advisor, a Minister of Defense, a Chief of Army Staff, a Chief of Defense Staff, a Department of State Services, a National Intelligence Agency, and a presidency that cannot find 46 missing Nigerians. The First Lady stood in Ekiti and told a campaign rally crowd that insecurity will end. When her convoy moved through Ekiti that day, the crowd did not cheer for the ICT center. They did not celebrate the 50,000 naira. What they told that motorcade, ordinary Nigerians standing on the side of a road with nothing but their grief and their voice was, "Bring back our children." That is the report the government's press releases did not file. Now let us be direct about something. The office of the First Lady of Nigeria is not in the 1999 Constitution. It has no legislative basis. No appropriation act passed by the National Assembly funds its operations. Its budget comes from executive discretion, from a presidency that chooses daily where to deploy the resources of the Nigerian state. The same executive discretion that sent a heavily secured convoy to a campaign rally in Ekiti has not been able to produce operational answers about 46 missing Nigerians in Oyo State. That is not incompetence. That is priority, and priority reveals character. Seyi Makinde, Ibadan, and the Southwest calculation. The same day, in Ibadan, at the Professor Theophilus Ogunlesi Hall at the University College Hospital, Governor Seyi Makinde received the APM Presidential Nomination Certificate from National Chairman Yusuf Dantali. The 36 state chairmen voted. The motion carried. Makinde was adopted as the Allied People's Movement's consensus presidential candidate for 2027. His speech was not ceremonial language. He said he was accepting a mission to rescue Nigeria from bad governance. He called on the opposition to unite against what he described as a deliberate effort to convert Nigeria into a one-party state. He said the time to reset Nigeria is now. Behind that declaration is not just personal ambition, and we must be honest that ambition is part of it. Behind it is a structural political agreement. 2 weeks before the primary, Makinde led the Cheraki-aligned PDP faction in Oyo State to sign a formal memorandum of understanding with the APM. The terms are not vague. Every candidate from Makinde's PDP faction will contest under the APM ticket, Senate, House of Representatives, State Assembly, and below. Every level, every election. The APM is not being used as a personal vehicle. It is being used as the ballot framework for an entire coalition anchored in Oyo State with national network reach through the Cheraki PDP structure. Now Nyesom Wike responded that same day. After inspecting FCT projects, Wike told journalists that what they were seeing was Makinde joining the APM to pursue a presidential ambition that was already dead on arrival. Wike is not wrong that he controls the INEC-recognized PDP. That is real institutional leverage. But Wike made a fundamental error in his analysis, and this error will cost him. Wike does not control Oyo State. Makinde does. And Oyo State is not a small variable in Nigerian presidential politics. Tinubu won the 2023 presidency with approximately 8.4 million votes in a 3-candidate race. The Southwest was the foundation of that victory. Oyo is the second most populous state in the Southwest. If a Yoruba governor, a sitting governor, who controls the state party apparatus, who has signed a multi-tier coalition agreement, who commands genuine grassroots loyalty in Oyo, runs a credible presidential campaign in 2027, the emotional and ethnic solidarity vote that Tinubu has been banking on from the Southwest becomes contested ground. That is not dead on arrival. A dead candidacy does not split Southwest votes. A live candidacy does. And Tinubu's strategists understand the difference between those two things, even if Wike does not choose to acknowledge it publicly. The crack in the Southwest is not a collapse, but it does not need to be a collapse to change the arithmetic. It only needs to move enough votes in enough states to alter the plurality calculation. That is all a first-past-the-post system requires. A crack, properly exploited and properly coordinated, can be the difference. The question is whether anyone in the Nigerian opposition has the political discipline to exploit it. Asterisk 4 opposition candidates, and one pattern this country has seen before. Let us count what this past weekend produced. Peter Obi under the NDC, Atiku Abubakar under the ADC, Goodluck Jonathan ratified under a PDP faction with the INEC recognition status still disputed, and now Seyi Makinde under the APM. 4 declared opposition presidential candidates against one incumbent who won his own party's primary with 11 million votes, controls the INEC-recognized structures of the ruling party, commands the full institutional weight of the federal executive, and demonstrated this very weekend the capacity to deploy police and state pressure against political opponents at will. The question that analysts keep framing incorrectly is, which of these 4 candidates can beat Tinubu? That is the wrong question. In a first-past-the-post system with a fragmented opposition field, the correct question is, can any configuration of these 4 candidates together produce a result that the incumbent cannot absorb? And the honest answer, based on the documented history of Nigerian presidential elections since 1999, is that divided opposition in Nigeria does not add. It divides. The votes do not consolidate around the strongest alternative. They scatter. And scattered votes against a machine candidate in a system where the sitting government controls the electoral commission, the security apparatus, venue licensing, and police deployment produce predictable outcomes. We have watched this film before. We know the ending. Makinde's entry is the most politically significant of the 4 precisely because of geography. Obi's base is predominantly southeast and urban diaspora. Atiku's base is predominantly northwest and northeast. Jonathan's political base, whatever remains of it, is south-south. None of those configurations directly threatens Tinubu's core southwest base. Makinde does. A credible Yoruba candidate running specifically in the southwest, with a sitting governor's machinery behind him, forces Tinubu to spend political capital defending his home turf. That is a resource diversion that changes campaign strategy, funding allocation, and potentially, only potentially, vote share in states Tinubu cannot afford to lose. But a crack is not a strategy, and 4 candidates with 4 different bases, 4 different funding structures, 4 different organizational networks, and 0 demonstrated willingness to subordinate personal ambition to a common framework is not an opposition. It is a competition among losing positions. The Nigerian opposition has a talent for winning arguments and losing elections. Until that changes, until one of these 4 candidates is willing to stand down for the right coalition architecture rather than the right personal positioning, Tinubu does not need to be afraid of any of them individually. Meanwhile, while the politicians were holding primaries and making declarations, ordinary Nigerians in cities and rural communities were already on foot. Volunteers were going door to door, showing residents the faces of the abducted children from Oyo State, explaining what happened, registering people's shock that this occurred 50 miles from Ibadan. No party headquarters organized that. No campaign consultant designed that. Those were Nigerians who were angry, who had time, and who had a phone. That ground-level energy, that organic, unstructured, morally driven mobilization is the most dangerous thing in Nigerian politics right now, and it belongs to nobody. Every politician in this race should be paying attention to it, because it is the energy that decides whether 2027 becomes another managed transition or something this country has not seen before. What this weekend actually told us. Here is the summary that matters. 39 children and 7 teachers were taken from 3 schools in Oyo State on May 15, 2026. 1 teacher was beheaded on video. The federal government issued no dedicated press conference on the rescue operation. No operational timeline was made public. Parents were talking to journalists with the desperation of people who had been officially abandoned. On May 30th, the First Lady of Nigeria traveled to Ekiti State, flagged off an APC campaign rally, distributed 100 million naira in grants that work out to 50,000 naira per trader, and told the crowd that insecurity will end. When her convoy passed through Ekiti, Nigerians on the road told her what they needed to hear, not a political slogan, not a party promise, but 6 words rooted in grief that no government official has earned the right to ignore. Seyi Makinde declared for the presidency in Ibadan the same day under a coalition framework that covers every level of the ballot. Wike dismissed it, but Wike does not govern Oyo State. A Southwest crack is real. Even if it is not yet a Southwest collapse. 4 opposition candidates now exist. None of them individually threatens the incumbent's machine. Together, without coordination, they threaten only themselves. The institutional advantages of incumbency in Nigeria are not theoretical. They are structural, documented, and historically decisive. The opposition cannot win this election with ambition alone. It requires architecture. And while all of this was happening at the level of power, ordinary Nigerians were in the streets with phones and anger and the faces of missing children. That is the most important political fact in Nigeria right now. Not the certificates, not the grants, not the declarations. The anger of people who have decided that they are no longer willing to be managed. Closing. She was standing on a road in Ekiti State. No party card, no media handler, no prepared remarks. 6 words, bring back our children. That is not a campaign slogan. That is a verdict. A verdict on 15 days of silence from a government that had enough money for a convoy, enough time for a campaign rally, and enough political will to hand out 100 million naira in an election season, but could not stand before the parents of 39 missing children and give them an honest account of what their government was doing to bring those children home. February 2027 is coming. Your vote is the answer to those 6 words. The politicians know what they did this weekend. Now you know too. This is Afrisight Forum. We follow the power, we expose the lies, and we tell the stories they don't want you to hear because the truth is the one thing they cannot campaign against. If this video told you something they didn't report, share it right now. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave your comment below, 1 name, 1 reason. Which of these 4 opposition candidates gives Nigeria the best chance in 2027? Tell me. The next video is already in production. Word count, approximately 2,500 words. Production notes, asterisk. 1. The Labour Party Yoruba candidate angle mentioned in the original draft was underdeveloped and has no supporting facts in the source material. I dropped it cleanly rather than include a thin segment. If you have source details, send them and I will build that section properly. 2. Confirm the correct spelling of the beheaded teacher's name before publishing. The source script had a transcription error in that name. 3. This script runs clean for AI voiceover. No formatting marks, no bullet interruptions in the body, subheadings are lowercase and production only. Ready for your workflow.